Candy that messes with your hormones and heart? We think of candy as a harmless indulgence or a heartfelt gift for a loved one. But what if one common treat had the power to alter your body's chemistry, sometimes with life-threatening consequences? Licorice, a candy long known to raise blood pressure, may have an even deeper impact on key hormones. But if that's true, why is it still on the shelf? In this video, we break down a groundbreaking study uncovering the hidden risks of licorice and its powerful active compound. Let's start with a real-life case that serves as a cautionary tale. A 54-year-old construction worker in Massachusetts had a habit of eating black licorice every single day. Then, one day, his heart suddenly stopped. Doctors discovered that his potassium levels had dropped to dangerously low levels. His love for licorice had caused a fatal cardiac arrest. This case raises a crucial question. How much licorice is too much? Welcome to Science Behind Headlines. Today, we're diving into fascinating research on licorice intake and its effects on hormones and blood pressure. This is not medical advice. Scientists have long known that glycyrrhizic acid, the active compound in licorice, can raise blood pressure. But for years, the small amounts found in candy were assumed to be safe. The World Health Organization even considers a daily intake of up to 100 milligrams of glycyrrhizic acid safe for most people. But here's the big problem. This safety threshold had never been thoroughly studied. Licorice gets its distinct sweetness, about 50 times sweeter than sugar, from glycyrrhizinic acid. This powerful compound comes from the Glycyrrhizin glabra plant, which is native to Europe and Asia. This plant has a long, complex, and sometimes dark history. In ancient Egypt, licorice was used in pharaohs' burial rituals, with extracts placed in tombs to provide nourishment in the afterlife. In China and Greece, it was considered a powerful medicine, used to treat everything from stomach ailments to respiratory issues. But there's a darker side. In the Middle Ages, licorice was sometimes used in toxic herbal blends, and even as an ingredient in medieval poisons. Some historical records suggest that Roman soldiers chewed licorice root to suppress thirst on long marches, but excessive intake may have led to unexpected health issues. So, licorice has a history intertwined with medicine, mystery, and even danger. Licorice affects the kidneys in an unusual way. It blocks an enzyme that is an important player in hormone regulation. Normally, this enzyme helps convert active cortisol into its inactive form, cortisone. But when it's blocked, cortisol levels stay higher than they should. The result? A biological chain reaction that mimics the effects of aldosterone, a hormone that controls sodium and potassium balance. This shift can lead to low potassium, high sodium, fluid retention, and dangerously high blood pressure. With that background in mind, let's look at how researchers tested licorice's effects. The scientists wanted to see what happens when people consume 100 milligrams of glycyrrhizic acid, an amount considered safe by most health organizations. A randomized crossover study was conducted. Each person ate either licorice candy or a control candy without licorice for 14 days. Throughout the study, researchers measured blood pressure and took blood samples. Surprisingly, even this small amount of licorice was found to significantly suppress renin and aldosterone, two hormones critical for maintaining blood pressure and fluid balance. Without them functioning properly, blood pressure climbed, and the heart had to work harder. Eating licorice was associated with the blood pressure spike, reinforcing the idea that licorice disrupts normal hormone balance in the kidneys. The numbers tell the story. On average, systolic blood pressure rose by 3.1 millimeters of mercury, with a smaller but still notable increase in diastolic pressure. But here's where it gets interesting. Even after participants stopped eating licorice for 2 weeks, their blood pressure didn't fully return to normal. That suggests the effects of licorice linger longer than expected, potentially putting strain on the cardiovascular system long after consumption stops. But the impact didn't stop there. Another key marker, NT-proBNP, shot up during the licorice phase. This biomarker is used to measure heart strain, and its increase suggested that licorice was leading to an elevated cardiac workload, especially in sensitive individuals. And then there was the unexpected weight gain. It wasn't dramatic, but it was consistent. The likely culprit? Increased fluid retention, a direct consequence of suppressed aldosterone levels. This small but telling shift underscored how licorice doesn't just affect blood pressure, it alters the body's entire fluid balance. Remember those Roman soldiers who suffered after chewing licorice root to suppress thirst? As researchers designed the study, they faced an unexpected challenge: finding licorice products with consistent levels of glycyrrhizinic acid. That's when they made a surprising discovery. Very often, the amount listed on the packaging wasn't accurate. Some products marketed as licorice contained no actual licorice at all. For red licorice lovers, there's good news. Most red licorice doesn't contain glycyrrhizic acid at all. Even many black licorice products today rely on artificial flavorings instead of real licorice root. But that doesn't mean all products are safe. If you're someone who's sensitive to licorice's effects, reading labels carefully is key. But the effects of glycyrrhizic acid aren't just black and white, or black and red in this case. While it can raise blood pressure and disrupt hormone balance, it also has potent anti-inflammatory properties. For centuries, licorice has been used in traditional medicine to soothe sore throats, ease digestive discomfort, and even support respiratory health. Today, licorice extract is still found in skincare products, prized for its ability to calm irritation and fade hyperpigmentation. Before this study, the World Health Organization considered 100 milligrams of glycyrrhizic acid per day to be safe for most people. But these findings challenge that assumption. They show that even small amounts of licorice can influence blood pressure and hormone regulation, effects that may last longer than expected. Whether you love the tongue-numbing bite of black licorice or the sweeter, milder red variety, licorice is more than just candy. It's a piece of nostalgia, a treat tied to childhood memories. Maybe you even wrapped a licorice rope around your wrist before riding off on your bike. But this study serves as a sweet and cautionary reminder that even the smallest indulgences can have a bigger impact than we realize. If you love science and research as much as I do, hit that subscribe button. Let's make research more accessible and spread the power of scientific thinking. Your support helps bring more evidence-based content to the world, so let's keep exploring, questioning, and learning together.